Hello
Okay.
everyone, I am here with Jimmy and Jessica from Jemtek who will be covering one of their brand new, amazing new brands called Rebels and Kings. And I would love to hear first before we start the show if you guys can hear us. So let us know in the live chat if you can hear us.
I can hear you guys. All good.
Can you hear us, live chat? All right, I think they can hear us. Can you guys hear us? All right, we're live, you guys. Okay. So thank you everyone and welcome for joining me once again for eJuices.com live. My name is Tina with eJuices.com, and like I said before, I have here Jimmy and Jessica with me from Jemtek, and the brand that we'll actually be covering today, their brand spanking new brand that they just came out with pretty recently, Rebels and Kings, supposed to be amazing flavors. So thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all of you guys out there, we're doing this segment of Ask the Juice Maker again, just because it's really cool to get all these brands out there and to talk about them and kind of look at the differences in their flavors and kind of their facilities and how they run things. So due to popular demand, we are doing the Ask the Juice Maker segment again. If you guys have any questions regarding the manufacturing of e-liquids or basically branding in general, we've got two pros here right now, so be sure to drop those questions in the chat. Not to mention, we have a giveaway, you guys. I've linked that below in the chat, so be sure to join. And because Jimmy and Jessica are so amazing, they're going to be giving out a full box set of their flavors. So six of them, you guys, 60 milliliter bottles of really, really delicious flavors. So thank you guys once again for joining us. I would love to hear a little bit about Rebels and Kings.
So Rebels and Kings was actually started about a year and a half ago with just an idea. It's based upon the people that are in the industry, like you and I were realistically in the whole world, we're really nothing. So we're considered the rebels. But yet we can craft something so special and so fantastic that anybody can enjoy it, including royalty like kings. So that's why we came with the name Rebels and Kings.
Oh, I love that. And so when did you guys launch this then?
We actually launched it and made everything official in maybe about July of last year.
Okay. Okay, very cool. And what about you guys in that box set that Jessica just held up for us? What are your guys' favorite flavors out of that selection?
Well, you know what? When it comes to like actually the whole selection of it, we have a full 6 in that box that you saw. But what's great about our entire line is that we have such a wide variety that kind of caters to all palates. So to be honest with you, they're all freaking awesome. But if I had to pick one, my favorite is probably Blue Dream. I just love the mixture of having marshmallows and the fruit of the blueberry and all of that on top of the graham crackers. Just so good.
Cool. And what about you, Jimmy?
I honestly like Ruby Gates. That's a mixture of dragon fruit with kiwi and a little bit of raspberry. So the raspberry actually tones out the sweetness quite a bit, and it gives it that nice tart appeal at the end.
Awesome. So thank you for sharing the favorite flavors with us. Can we actually get an overview of what all the flavors in that box set are?
Yeah, so like he mentioned, so Ruby Gates is going to be dragon fruit, kiwi, and raspberry. So that's also really good. We do, that one's going to be our fruit one. We do have a drink flavor, which is paradise. That one is strawberries and lemons.
Ooh.
We have our frost, I know, right? We have our frost, which is going to be black grapes and also has kind of an apple finish. So that's also really good. Golden Whip, which is going to be graham crackers and marshmallows. So that would be our dessert flavor. Blue Dream, which I mentioned earlier, that one's going to be our cream. That one is marshmallows, blueberries, and graham crackers. And then our tobacco, because we have everything, our tobacco is going to be a caramel custard and then just a little touch of tobacco. So
wow, so you guys quite literally cater to literally every taste palette, if you will.
Yeah.
Wow. And so was that kind of the motivation for starting this brand, that you kind of wanted to have a little bit of everything, or were there any other motivations for starting the brand in general?
Well, the whole thing was the whole thing was that we wanted to make sure that anybody and everybody can enjoy our flavors, and we didn't want to just stick with one thing like just fruit or like candy or something like that. We wanted to make sure that if someone came into a vape shop near them and they said, "Hey, I'm looking for a tobacco flavor," we have that. Or, "Hey, I'm looking for a fruit flavor," we have that. You know what I mean? And we've been developing these flavors for about a year and a half before we decided to launch. So we had maybe over hundreds of versions to make sure that we have the perfect one and keep that one consistent enough to be able to cater to everyone.
That's awesome. Did you have anything else to add to that, Jessica?
No, I mean, kind of going back to what he said as far as consistency, you know, we want to make sure to be able to cater to a lot of people. And that's what you kind of look forward to when you find like a juice line or something that you enjoy. You know, everything from eating to vaping, you want consistency and something that tastes great. And, you know, we kind of found that in these flavors.
That's fantastic, you guys. That's awesome. I love that. I've never seen a brand take literally every single flavor and combine it into one big pack so that everybody has something that they like. That is awesome. So we've actually got a few questions in the chat. One of them, Marcel Moore, I'm going to answer that for you. Hello, Marcel. You are on eJuices.com live. This is eJuices.com's live show, and it's all about vaping. And today we're doing a segment asking the juice makers, the pros, about any questions as far as the branding or manufacturing process when it comes to e-juice making. Now, Jimmy, Jessica, we have a question. What did you guys do? What fields were you guys in before you came over into the vape realm?
You want to go first?
Sure, I can go first. So before this, I was actually a nurse, and I worked at the county hospital.
Oh, wow.
And growing up, my parents were always entrepreneurs, so I felt that this is something that I can do for myself and, you know, follow in their footsteps. So that's what ended up happening.
That's awesome. And what about you, Jessica?
For me, I actually have such a long background in regards to like fashion and like the retail industry. So I've been doing that for a long, long time. And also in the makeup industry too. Makeup is still something that I do on the side. So definitely like I've been dabbling in a lot of artistic things for a long time too.
That's awesome. So we have someone with a nursing background, someone with a fashion, creative background. How in the world did you guys end up in the vape space?
It's kind of weird because I used to be a heavy smoker for being a nurse. It's kind of weird to say that. But one of my friends actually gave me one for my birthday in August of 2012. Oh. And from there, I liked it so much that I was kind of like, oh, what should we do? What should we do with this? And then we ended up, purchasing some goods and selling out of our backpacks back in 2012. Next thing you know, we have enough money to open a store. So we actually have a store here in Fullerton. And from there, we ended up saying, hey, you know what? These flavors are good, but we want to make our own. And then we started dabbling with that. And next thing you know, we have a 12,000 square foot facility where we're making e-liquids.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, nursing is a stressful job, so I don't condemn you too much for that. What about you, Jessica?
So for me, I had actually already been friends with Jimmy for quite some time. And, you know, like down the line, he kind of reached out to me because he knows as far as, you know, like how I am as far as like with people and everything too. He's like, hey, you know, like I have this store. I think that you would be a great fit. That's actually how I started vaping once I got into that industry. Once I started discovering just so many of the benefits to vaping in general, that's how I just became such a big supporter of that industry. I have a lot of people in my family that are heavy smokers. So that for me was a really, really big deal to kind of, you know, encourage them to stop smoking cigarettes. And then I had left for a little bit to pursue something else. And then Rebels and Kings happened and everything just changed. And it's been an amazing journey to be with Jimmy and the team.
That's awesome. How long have you been with them for?
I think it's been like 6 months now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, half a year. It's pretty decent amount, especially in the vape realm when everything's changing literally all the time.
Yeah.
6 years is like dog years. Like, I mean, 6 months is like dog years. But that's awesome, you guys. I myself, actually, I can relate with that, Jessica. I had a lot of smokers in my family, and my dad was actually the first one in our family to try e-cigarettes and stuff, and kind of, you know, followed suit because I had picked up my own nasty habits. So, but definitely now everybody in my family is getting an e-cig in their hand and taking the cigarette out and the analogs out and the e-ones in. So, you know, I think we could go on for days and days and days about how much better it is. But, and, you know, especially we've got a nurse right here who could tell you for days and days and days how much better. And somebody in the chat even said that it's really, Patrick Ritter in the chat said it's really not strange for healthcare professionals to smoke. It's pretty common. So, back to the flavors, you guys. What are the PG-VG ratios of your flavors? And what about like bottle sizes and nic levels? What do you guys carry?
So our PG is actually 30 and our VG is going to be 70. So those are going to be that ratio. And then when it does come to bottle sizes, I'll show you really quick. So for the flavors, we have them all in 60 mils. So that's always going to be that size. And then we actually just released all of our salt mix too. So that's always going to be in a 30 mil bottle.
Wow, okay. And did you guys just recently make these nic salts, or have they been around for a little while?
We've been developing them for about 5 months now, and actually we just released them for the public maybe about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Did you guys choose to go down the nic salt route because there's kind of like a rejuvenation, like a renaissance for like nic salts right now? Everybody's like on squonks and nic salts.
You know what's funny is because somebody gave me like a Sorin mod like this.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's so compact, but if we were to put like a regular bottle of e-liquid in there, you don't really taste the flavor too much. So with that being said, when a lot of us in the office started using things like this, we wanted to use our own flavors. And that's why we ended up doing the nic salt.
Makes sense. What were your guys' motivations for the flavors? Like, how did you decide on, you said that you spent 1.5 years developing these, which is amazing because you can tell that there was definitely a lot of effort and quality put into them. But what was the motivation behind the names and kind of the flavors? I know that we mentioned kind of having something for everyone, but specifically in those palettes, why did you pick those flavors?
It's funny because some of the names of them is kind of like when you vape it, that's like the first thing that came to mind.
Oh,
like for example, let's say Paradise, which is a strawberry lemonade flavor, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about vaping strawberry lemonade, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm on vacation, I'm on the beach, I'm drinking a strawberry lemonade. That's considered Paradise. So telling the story, it's kind of like when somebody's vaping that, they can kind of reiterate, oh, you know what? It does make me feel like I'm on vacation or at the beach or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And Blue Dream, Blue Dream itself is kind of like one of our old colleagues. He actually passed away about 2 years ago. That was one of his favorite flavors that we were developing. So we decided to take that flavor, finalize it for him, and actually do it in memorial for him. So that flavor is actually from the person that we were working with before.
Wow, okay. That's cool. That's a cool way to memorialize, definitely.
Yeah. Ruby Gates is kind of like dragon fruit kiwi with raspberry. So when we're vaping it, we're like, okay, so the flavor is so good, it kind of takes me almost to heaven. So in our heaven, we're thinking like, oh, you know what? They're always going to be like pearly gates, gold gates, or something like that. But that doesn't sound cool. So we're like, you know what? The color ruby is very, very nice. So we're going to call it Ruby Gates.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
What about some of the other ones?
We have Golden Whip. So Golden Whip, we kind of did a little bit of both. So when you think of a graham cracker, it's like, gold, golden grams, gold, something like that. So we did gold, and it reflects our brand very well because we do like the colors of black very much. With the whip, we're thinking of like whipped marshmallows or whipped cream or something like that. So that's where it reflects along the lines of it.
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah. And then the last one would be Royal Leaf. Royal Leaf caramel custard tobacco. When I think of tobacco smokers or like cigar smokers or people that vape on tobacco flavor, I think of somebody a little bit more upscale. So we've developed a tobacco flavor fit for the royal, and that's actually the description of it,
Oh, I
So
love
that's
that.
what we call it, royal leaf, yeah.
That's so cool that you guys vaped it and then named it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like when people are like, let's just have the baby and then we'll like look at it and know. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, you guys. I would love to know, other than kind of catering to everybody's different tastes, if you will. So you've got something for everyone. How does your brand differentiate itself from other brands?
Let's see. Well, as far as our thought process in regards to the brand, I think that, this is something that we all truly, truly believe in, but we all come from different backgrounds. So I think that with our brand, it's definitely relatable to different people, whether or not you, in some shape or form, you are a rebel or you highly think of yourself as a king, or maybe you are a little bit of a mixture of both. I know that I do. I think that that's something that kind of makes us stand out. And the fact that, like this company, we just highly encourage just preaching this brand and making sure that everyone enjoys it. And I think that's kind of what differentiates us, is that, we're really pushing it out there. And we have this saying here, as far as like the Rebels and Kings brand, that we're the Mayhem Squad. We fully intend on preaching the name and spreading the word in regards to the brand. And so I think we can do it. I know we can do it.
You're doing it right now. Do you have any additions to that, Jimmy?
We really enjoy branding, and we really want people to wear, like, to love our branding and be able to come out there and say, hey, that company's branding is so nice. I would wear it every day. So we come up with things that we want to wear every day, or come up with things that we like to see every day. So we do like cool little pins like this,
that's
that we wear on our shirts at shows. We always give them to like friends and family, or anybody that's a close friend of the company or that. Even our sample box sets that we give to vendors are in a nice gold foil box.
Oh, I love that.
So we really truly do love our branding. Even when it comes down to hats and stuff like that, we make hats that say Rebels and Kings. You know what I mean? Like, people just, when they walk by our booth, like at the past ECC, they have to stop because they're like, is that a vape brand or is that a clothing brand? Which is funny because we're also releasing another side of Rebels and Kings that only caters to like clothing, streetwear, regular formal wear, cut and sew stuff. So we are developing that side as well too.
That's fantastic. That's awesome, you guys. I love those hats, and I definitely need both of them. And I'm gonna need one of those pins too. But but no, that in itself. I mean, I've seen different companies with their branding and stuff, but I love those products, and it's getting a lot of love in the chat too. People think that those are great products to work with. So kudos to you guys. That's amazing. Everybody's saying they want the hats now.
Yeah, they're really nice.
We are doing a giveaway on our Instagram right now.
Oh, you guys?
We're at like 14,000 followers on our Instagram. So we are doing that. If you guys come into our Instagram, you'll definitely see that. And maybe you can participate, maybe win one of the hats.
I actually have your guys' Instagram here, so I'm going to pull it up real quick so everybody can see, so that they can get your handle. But you guys, if you want to join their giveaway on Instagram, here's the handle. So there it is, you guys. There's their official Instagram handle. Official RNK is the handle that you want to go to if you want to participate in this. So here's kind of the look and the aesthetic of Rebels and Kings. And obviously they've got some really, really dope merch, you guys. But there's the 15K giveaway, you guys. So it's the first one on official RNK. That's the one that you guys are going to want to click on. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for showing us that swag. People love that stuff, but I have to get one of those Rebels hats, definitely.
Of course.
So we have a couple of questions from the chat. The first one that I would like to know is Patrick Ritter asked, the royal flavor sounds very interesting, and I don't like to bring competition into the conversation, but can you compare it to Naked's tobacco, because he thinks that it's a similar flavor? Or how it would differ from.
So, Naked's tobacco I truly do love, because it's a traditional, more robust kind of tobacco flavor. for our tobacco flavor, it kind of gives me remnants of, like, let's say a 4YR or like a RY4, one of those ones where it's more based on like caramel and custard first, and then the tobacco hints at the end on the exhale. So tobacco sometimes it's hard to work with because sometimes it can be the same or it can be different. But for ours, we're catering more towards like the creamy custardy tobacco over the robust bold tobacco.
That's a good differentiation, definitely. I think that I'm one of those people, I can't deal with the robust tobaccos. I always go for the flavored ones where it's like more flavoring, and then there's like, it's more flavoring, less tobacco. Some people like those, but it's a little much for me. So I'd probably like that flavor. Another question we had earlier was regarding your facility and kind of what it looks like and stuff. So I would actually love to segue that into a question regarding if you could tell us a little bit about your facility and your commitment to safety and sanitary regulations and what that looks like.
So we have a 12,000 square foot facility right now with a ISO 8 clean room and a state-of-the-art mixing room. So there are two different areas. The clean room itself is mainly just for bottling and raw product to be going out. And the mix room is just for mixing and storing any of our extracts. As for to like safety regulations, health regulations, we are working closely with OSHA and a FDA consultant to make sure that everything is up to par and everything is safe and sound for the end user, to ensure that these products aren't being made in a bathtub or a sink or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. And do you guys have any like certifications and stuff as far as, you know, like regulation, like federally regulated certifications and stuff that are necessary?
So our clean room manufacturer has issued us a ISO 8 certification to make sure that room has great negative pressure to not bring any dust in. We have that regulation. All of our bottles and flavors have been tested, so everything coming out of there, I mean, is making sure that everything is clean and nice and there's no particles of anything there. Any remnants of bugs or anything like that, we don't have that here. So everything is fully enclosed and fully clean and ready to go.
That's amazing. I'm sure people love hearing that because I know that there's a lot of concern when it comes to all of that because, you know, in our industry, there's premium and then there's people who create it, but maybe it's not in the most proper way. So it's great to hear that you guys are so lock and key, so tight about those regulations. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Jessica, or do you think that Jimmy covered most of that?
No, he covered it all pretty much.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to pause and let everybody know we have a couple of new people in the chat right now. So I just want to say hello to everyone who joined us after the show. I'm here with Jimmy and Jessica from Jemtek. That's kind of like an umbrella company, but we're focusing on the brand Rebels and Kings right now, which is amazing. So we have a giveaway running, you guys, that I've linked below the screen, and I'll link again in the chat quite a few times throughout this whole show. And Jimmy and Jessica were awesome enough to throw in 6 bottles, so a whole box set of flavors. Jessica's holding it right now, of all different flavors. They've got everything from tobacco to cream to fruit to anything under the sun. If you like tart, they've got everything. So maybe if you're not like a cream fan, but you win this box set and you know someone who is, you can give it to them. But either way, it's every flavor you could possibly imagine for every palate. So, and they're going to be giving 6 bottles of those away, all in 60 mils. So if you're the winner, we'll have you email in after the show. We'll get your information. So be sure to join that giveaway, you guys. I've also linked our brand ambassador program below. So if you're interested in checking that out and seeing what you can do with that and earning rewards and stuff, be sure to check that out as well. So I would love to hear a little bit more about the target market of your brand. You mentioned Kings and Rebels and how everybody's kind of feeling either one or the other. Everybody's a little bit of a rebel and a king. But would you say, you've got this apparel thing going on now, so I feel like that shifts a little bit to a definite target market. Who would you say that target market is?
I think that with our image, to kind of put it simpler, we kind of have more of like a street style. but we definitely want to have more of like an upscale taste. So that, definitely goes into everything that we look at as far as everything from the bottles to the clothing. We take a look at all the details. We want to make sure that everything is intricate and beautiful and nice. And, we definitely want to cater to those people too.
Awesome. Very cool. Do you have any additions to that, Jimmy?
Like the market that we have is weird. This industry is weird because you can have someone that's 21 all the way up until like 88. You don't know.
Yep.
So, some of the branding that we see nowadays is not catered towards like the older people. You know what I mean? So we wanted to make something universal to be able to say, hey, you know what? You don't like this brand because it has cartoons. You don't like this brand because it looks too plain. You know what? Let's put both of them together and say, hey, you know what? We have something that's more than just cartoons and too plain. We have something that's fantastic and luxurious.
And works for everybody.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, you guys. I love it. It's a little bit like you said. It's Rebels and Kings. It's like it's split almost. But I love that you guys are going for the upscale thing too. I think I think that's great. I love when companies do that in our space. So we have a few more questions in the live chat for you guys. So Jimmy and Jessica, Patrick asked this question. Out of your lineup, do you have a favorite cocktail that you pair with any of your other juices that you guys vape?
So for me, my favorite drink is always going to be Hennessy neat, or cognac neat. So I'm sorry, it sounds kind of stereotypical, but cognac neat is always my thing to go to.
Yeah.
So when I drink that, I always like Royal Leaf. It goes so well together. So
that's awesome. The tobacco and is it like the muskiness and the cream?
I think so. Yeah.
With the cognac? That's awesome.
It makes me feel so grown up. So that's why I like that.
That's all. Why? Because you got the tobacco in one hand and the cognac in the other. That's awesome. What about you, Jessica?
I'm actually a big sweets girl, so I love anything that's like creamy. So I'll probably do something like have you ever heard of a Colorado Bulldog?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I really love Colorado Bulldogs. I'll probably pair that with like a Golden Whip because the Golden Whip is just really simple and creamy. So they don't bounce off of each other.
Yeah, I think I'd like to try Golden Whip with something similar, like a White Russian maybe. Because the Colorado Bulldog's got Coca-Cola in it and stuff, right? And the Kahlua. So, yeah, I'd probably go with I'm more of a vodka person myself, but I like the sweet, creamy thing. So, we have another question. What other brands does Jemtek have or / are planning right now? And if you guys don't want to let us know what you're planning, that's totally fine.
You can take that, Jessica.
Our other brands within our umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite a few.
We have another brand called Vape Cupcake, which is considered another manufacturing house.
Okay.
But it's also kind of like an all-around thing. They have some flavors that are catered to like cupcakes, and then some flavors that are catered to like fruit drinks. But it's nothing like Rebels and Kings. And then as for anything new in the mix right now, we are releasing a couple other flavors under the Rebels and Kings line, like maybe a couple different series, but you guys are going to have to wait and see that.
All right. We'll be patient. Guys, you heard it. They're coming out with some new flavors for Rebels and Kings, so be sure to check out that handle. I'm going to pull that up one more time. You guys are going to go over your face in the chat for 2 seconds, but here's the Instagram, you guys. The handle is officialRNK. So if you guys want to see what the new flavors they're going to be coming out with, I'm sure they're going to be posting them to Instagram. Or if you want to participate in their giveaway where you can get some of that awesome swag that we were talking about earlier, definitely check this page out. All right, so you guys, for the benefit of our viewers, will you go over the juice making process? A juice from start to finish. How does it start? How do you know when the flavor is finished? On average, how long does this process take to get from concept to finished product?
Well, like I said before, like all of our liquids that we developed for this brand took us about 1.5 years to develop. And it starts from a concept. So we could be out eating something, drinking something, and we're like, oh, you know what, that would be good. But what would make it better? So let's say, oh, you know what, strawberry lemonade is good. It's good to have. But what sets us apart from the other 500 strawberry lemonade flavors? So that's when we really go down to the nitty gritty and really develop it. Like our strawberry lemonade comes down to almost to the point where, like, when you're vaping it, it makes you feel like you're actually drinking something, because we do add a little bit of a cooling effect to make it seem like it's strawberry lemonade on the rocks.
Ooh, okay.
So at the same time, like, if we wanted to develop a new flavor, which we are starting to do now, it does take a lot of research and development. Like we bring in extracts from all over the world. We do have specific ones that we favor more, but we do like to give them trial runs and try them out and make sure that we're not missing anything, or we're not using something that we should be using or something like that. So that's why we like to try a lot. So if we were to make, let's say, I don't know, for example, a raspberry lemonade flavor, we're going to get every single raspberry extract flavor that we have, and we're going to make our initial 30 flavors or 30 versions. And then from there, we're going to pick down to maybe like 15. And then we're going to do renditions on those 15. And then from there, we narrow down even more and more and more. And then when we get to the final 5, we say, you know what, let's go up here, down here, up here, down here. And in the end, a year and a half later, next thing you know, we have just one flavor. So it takes quite a bit of time.
Wow. That's insane. I mean, that's such a process, and you have to know that, like, you have to really be confident in the flavors that you're creating to put all that effort and time in, like, into just that one flavor. Like, you must really be confident with it. Like, this is going to be popular. Like, people are going to like this, you know?
So when we're done developing it, we also let people trial it in-house. All of our staff will try it.
Oh, okay.
We'll take it to, random vape shops, and we'll be like, you know what, why don't you leave the label off of this and just let your customers try it? And then we'll take a survey, and then, if, let's say, V1.2 is better than V2.2, then we're going to go with V1.2, So, yes, we are doing a lot of market research, a lot of those type of things to make sure that the flavors that are coming out is catering to the overall public, not just, what we like. If I like a sardines and marshmallow flavor, obviously we're not going to make that. So it's one of those things.
Definitely. So occasionally people in the chat will ask questions that have nothing to do with vaping. So we have a question. What are your guys' favorite sandwiches?
I love sandwiches in general. I don't know. I guess a BLT is always really good. Or grilled cheese.
There you go.
Let's make a tie between those.
What about you, Jimmy?
So I grew up poor, so I like fried bologna and eggs.
That's so funny. That's so funny. My boyfriend likes fried bologna. I always give him crap about it. That's so funny. I hope he's watching right now so that he knows he's not the only one. But that's awesome. Yeah, I'm a grilled cheese person myself. I made a joke in the chat that I liked like onion or liver or some crap, but but okay. So we would also like to know, other than branding, what are you guys doing to encourage loyalty to your brand as a company?
As far as loyalty goes, I think that, as when we're kind of preaching like our name out there. Sorry, I'm like drawing a blank.
You want me to take over there?
Yeah.
So with loyalty comes to people just loving the brand. I think as a company as a whole, we don't want people just to be like, oh, that bottle's cheap, I'm going to buy it. You know what I mean? Because, they're not going for the taste now. They're going for more of, the price. And, yes, I mean, the price is cheap, but if you don't like the flavor, you're going to vape half of that bottle and go away. So I think for us, it's more like, you know what? You guys love the brand. You guys will wear it every day. You guys will vape it every day. That's considered loyalty because we're making flavors that you guys like. We've also developed a new slogan for this year called Mayhem Squad. So Mayhem Squad is considered like, hey, you know what? We're all going to get together and we're going to take over the world. Kind of in that concept. You know what I mean? So with that being said, like we said before, no one's really making brands that are all around flavors anymore, that are developing like everything for everybody. So we feel so confident about the brand that we've developed this slogan saying that, you know what, Mayhem Squad is going to come and take over the world. That means that you're going to see our juice everywhere. And with that being said, once you try it, I'm 130% confident that you will love the brand and you will stay loyal to the brand. But yes, we do like pop-up shops at random vape shops. We do a lot of giveaways, and when we go to those pop-up shops, at trade shows, if you guys come find us, you know, or tag us on Instagram or anything like that, we do tend to give a lot of goodie bags away and things like that. So we do try to do more promotional items like that. But I think that if a person wanted to be loyal to a brand, they would just automatically do it. It wouldn't just be, oh, you know what, give me a bottle for $2 and I'll be loyal to your brand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which there's a lot of that out there, but definitely. We got someone in the chat, Mayhem Squad, I can dig. So we got some people who are excited about that. But no, I think that definitely a healthy dose of confidence goes a long way. And if you're confident in your product and you're confident in your strategy, then it's gonna do well. So I would have to agree with that. We had another question, Jimmy and Jessica. This is from Patrick. He's asking some bangers over here. Jimmy and Jessica, did any of you guys do DIY eJuice before starting this company?
So actually at one of our retail shops that we have here, we actually have a lab inside the retail shop.
I remember.
So when we started that's when we were like, oh, you know what, let's make our own flavors, because these flavors are good, but it doesn't really cater to our taste. So let's say back in 2013, we were making flavors inside of that shop for customers. So if a customer came in and said, hey, you know what, I want a peanut butter banana flavor, back in 2013, we would go back there and we would make one and we would heat steep for them and give it to them. And that's how we kind of started, you know. And yes, we did play around with a little bit of DIY, but then once we started learning more about the product and educating ourselves a lot more, that's when we started kind of narrowing down our focus and making sure these products are good, not just for one person, but for everyone.
Definitely. What about you, Jessica?
I was actually at that store with them too, so I definitely had an experience. Yeah, so I think kind of messing around in there and kind of just really, kind of learning like what people were looking for and just using that as an experience to kind of like understand like juice making and everything. That was really fun.
That's awesome. I bet. And I've learned from doing a couple of these segments. I didn't really know much about the juice making process. I was more of like a reviewer. So I was just getting the product and talking about what I thought went into it. But I'm learning a lot through these segments as well. So it is really cool to learn about the process. So, so another question, have you got, what juices? So you have this whole line. Which one would you say is the most popular?
I'd say right now, as far as like running popularity, I want to say Ruby Gates has been kicking butt lately. Yeah.
Do you think that, have you seen like a trend as far as like people going more towards fruity flavors in general, or do you think that it's just a really good flavor that people like?
I mean, overall, I think it's an amazing flavor. I mean, just right when you vape it, just everything you can taste, like all the detail into it. But I mean, I think as far as fruit goes, trending wise, it's probably not only delicious, but it's also like you're kind of a safe bet. But, you know, it just depends. That's why we like to cater to everyone. So we have a full range.
Definitely. Oh, I have to try the Ruby Gates then, because I love all those flavors. That or the Blue Dream one. I'm officially like on board with that. And we carry them, so I have to go try them. So I'm going to take this opportunity again to pause real quick, just because we had a couple more people come in the chat, make some announcements before we continue. So I am here, you guys, with Jimmy and Jessica from Jemtek, and they are answering our questions and being amazing guests on our show. We're predominantly talking about the brand Rebels and Kings, which not only does it have a myriad of flavors that pretty much cater to every palate preference, but they're also going into this swag line, and they've got these awesome hats and shirts, and they showed us a little bit earlier in this video, but if you guys are interested, I'll go ahead and pull up their Instagram real quick. There it is. official RNK if you want to add them on Instagram to check it out, and we linked it in the chat as well. On top of that, we are doing a giveaway, you guys, which I have linked below this video, which Jessica and Jimmy have been so kind as to throw some gear in there as well. So, you guys, the one winner, who I'm going to select at about 7:30, 7:35-ish tonight, so a little under an hour, I'm going to select the winner, and that winner will receive 6 60-milliliter bottles from their box set collection, which Jessica is holding up right there. And they have, like I said, every flavor for every palette that you could possibly imagine. And I've also linked the brand ambassador program underneath this video, and we're talking about it in the chat. So if you guys are interested, please go ahead and join. So to bring it back to you guys, the vape environment is definitely an ever-changing one. I think we can all agree that what was the vape world that we lived in a few months ago is not the same one we live in now, and the world that we lived in then wasn't the one it was 6 months before that. So do you feel that your guys' company is prepared for the upcoming imminent regulations?
I believe so. We are working with an FDA consultant right now to make sure that everything is up to par. And actually, we do promote the regulations because of the fact that it's more catered to the consumer, to make sure that, you know, everything that you're consuming is safe and not made in a bathtub, not made in a barn, not made in any of that. So yes, we do endorse that, and we do welcome that to make sure that everyone is doing everything in a safe manner. So yes, we are working with that. We do participate with CASA and Safada, all of those good things. So yes, we do endorse that.
Very cool. And same question to you, Jessica. You feel that you guys are 100% prepared with everything that we have going on?
I think so. I mean, we keep track in regards to like all that information, so I think we're on top of it. Yeah.
Very cool. We have a question in the chat for you guys once again. This is actually just deviating from asking about the manufacturing process, but the wonderful thing about eJuices Live is they really want to get to know you guys as guests. So they ask questions about your personal preferences in general. So do you guys prefer, let's see, the chat just went down. Do you prefer tank, drip, squonk, or MTL?
For me, I think I prefer tank. Right now, I'm using this as Modest Minikin V2 with a Tobacco Super Tank. I cannot let go of these Tobacco Super Tanks for some apparent reason because the flavors come out so great.
I love those. I've tried. I like that, and then like, you know, the Arctic tanks are my favorite. Besides that,
Arctics are really good. Yeah.
What about you, Jessica?
I actually have the same thing as Jimmy too.
Oh, okay.
I'm such a lazy girl, so Minikin in the tank. Just keep it that way.
And I am I've got actually the Arctic on mine right now as we speak. I've got this steampunky looking mod that I can't put down for the life of me. It's pretty cool. It's a Tesla Sig Nano. I really enjoy it. But we have another kind of not vape related question, but you know, I'll allow it because it's fun to have some silly questions on the show. Do you guys say data or data? He needs to know for his data.
I've never really thought about that. I think I say data. I think about it.
I say data.
Oh, okay. We got 2 datas and 1 data. There you go, Jameson. Answer your question. So I would love to know also, you guys, like what are some aspects of the eJuice manufacturing process that you feel are misunderstood by the general public?
I think that the general public thinks that, okay, if we have a strawberry kiwi flavor, it's very simple. You just add strawberry and you add kiwi. But the people that we work with and our mixologist back here, if we tell him strawberry kiwi flavor, he's going to go out and he's going to mix like 7 strawberries together with 6 kiwis together to get that strawberry kiwi flavor. That's what makes it so different, you know? So, and then on top of that, you have to add other things as toners and balancers. Like, let's say strawberry kiwi, you want to add, pineapple to tone out the flavor to make sure that you taste more of the kiwi or you taste more of the strawberry. So it is a very rigorous process, but, you know, some people, once they get the final product, it's just strawberry kiwi, it's so easy. But realistically, it's not that easy.
Okay. What about you? Do you have anything to add to that, Jessica?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. I would love to get into, so you're talking about CASA and kind of how you guys endorse all these things. I'd love to get into the talk of advocacy with you both. So it's a big thing, I'd say, in our industry. Some companies have a little bit more of a hand in it, some don't. You know, there's so many different places, so many different advocacy groups that people can go to. So my question is, like, what are your guys' thoughts basically on advocacy and the work that's being done right now? And if you feel that there can be any improvements made on how people are getting involved, or if you think that we're on the right track?
First and foremost, I don't think vaping is going anywhere. So like the advocacy groups,
that's what I like to hear.
The advocacy groups really do like help with local, local endorsements or anything like that, as for to local regulations. I mean, I'm hearing just recently, like Tennessee had 27 shops that closed down because they were selling CBD. But even so, like, there's no real regulation on CBD or anything like that yet. So it's hard to say, but that's where an advocacy group would step in and be like, hey, you know what? This is what the law is, and this is what it is. So you guys need to follow the law. So yes, I mean, if you guys do want to keep vaping alive longer and stronger, what you guys need to do is go out and sign up with an advocacy group, be pro vaping, support that, and support the people that are pro that, as for to like any type of congressman or anything like that. So that's what I think.
I love that. No, I definitely agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly, and I love it when I hear that when people say vaping's not going anywhere. I love that. I love the confidence. Jessica, what are your thoughts?
It's a little tough. I'm a little bit new in regards to all this news and advocacy and everything too. So I'm kind of learning a lot from Jimmy, but I'm sure that I'll learn a lot more along the way. Just right now, it's kind of hard.
No, I mean, I get it. No, I was totally new to the vape realm a year or two ago myself, so I totally understand. And then advocacy, I was like, advocacy? Like, why do we need to advocate? We already like exist. And then I found out, but no, I mean, totally understandable. I mean, then I guess I'll direct my next question to Jimmy, and then I have a question for both of you guys. Jimmy, do you feel that it is more beneficial if people self-advocate? And what I mean is, like, we have a bunch of singular advocates who are kind of spread out doing their own thing, and then we have these organized groups. Do you think that it's more beneficial for people to advocate and kind of spread the word in their own way, or to link up with these larger organizations so that there can be a more uniform voice?
That's a good question, because sometimes if you advocate yourself to a group of people that are against vaping, it's hard, because you don't want to like overeducate them, or if they're already ignorant, you can't really change that,
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes with friends and family, they'll be like, oh, you know what, that stuff has so much chemicals in it. But with friends and family, yes, I can advocate. But if I'm going out in public and someone being ignorant, oh, I don't like the smell of smoke, and I'm not really smoking, I'm vaping. But I'm not going to start trouble just because this person is ignorant and doesn't know what this really is. Or if they think I'm smoking marijuana out of this, or whichever it is, like, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go out there and, you know what, I'm going to be pro vaping, and I'm going to say, you know what, if you guys don't like it, then, I'm going to explain to you guys why in 40 reasons. They're not going to want to listen anyway. But as a group, yes, you guys can definitely get together as a group and say, yes, this is why we're doing this. I think power in numbers is a lot better than by yourself.
Yeah.
But it just depends on the situation.
Yeah. No, definitely. We have someone in the chat who, Juicing with Jen, said, I'm an Oregon lobbyist and we need to have all people who vape advocate. Your vape testimony may help someone. So, yeah, I feel like that's kind of, there's a lot of mixed feelings in the space of, should I advocate myself? Should I go out and just kind of have my own message, or should I link up with a higher power, if you will? Interesting conversation, though. I like to ask everybody that and get their spin, and you're actually the first one to say that it depends on the situations, if you can believe it or not. Most people have a pretty set yay or nay on that. So, no, I would definitely agree with that. So for both of you guys, and I know that Jessica, I know you said you're not super familiar with regulations, but I guess this is a question that sort of has to do with that, but can still be answered by someone who's maybe not super familiar with it. Recently, Facebook, for instance, came out with all these regulations where they're pushing a lot of the vape stuff to the bottom, right? And like, I'm just particularly very much into that because I manage all the social media for this company, so I have to stay up to date with that. But I'm just curious if you guys have noticed that and if you've come up with any creative ways to combat that, because it really is, especially when it comes to branding and like the stuff that you guys are doing, and like, you know, you need that kind of content, you need those pictures, you need that to be out there. Do you have any thoughts on like the best way to combat that given those regulations that are now in place?
I think going back to kind of what we were discussing a little bit earlier when it comes to branding as a general, in general, you know, we don't want anything to look like it's attracting like the wrong amount of attention, or we want like an image that looks too scary or aggressive. So I think that, you know, with what we believe in regards to the company, where we stand, you know, having like that royalty and you know, like that luxury type of image, I think that definitely, you know, smooths everything out and doesn't look intimidating.
I think that's best. I would definitely agree with that. That's why I like that you guys are kind of going down that road, because I really think that it will be very successful. Did you have any thoughts on that, Jimmy?
I think she answered it pretty well. You know, so I think that's pretty good. As far to like Facebook marketing and stuff like that, it's hard because I mean, from the get go, Facebook wouldn't let you advertise anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So yes, it's kind of like, you know, you're giving up your freedom of speech, but it is kind of, you know, one of those things where they're more afraid of people marketing the kids and stuff like that. So I get that. So that's why our clothing and stuff, if we wanted to express it to everyone, our clothing is where we're expressing to everyone.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I love it because, you know, nobody can really limit what people are wearing. I mean, it's not like so that somebody can go up to someone on the street and be like, you know, take that off. So, yeah, so we have a couple more questions for you guys in the chat. Jessica and Jimmy, have you ever worked with or considered a cherry flavor infused with other flavors or by itself?
That's funny. We're actually.
Oh, is this one of the things you're not allowed to tell us? Okay, that's fine. It's implied. So another question, Jameson would like to know, what is that thermometer on the wall behind you, Jessica, with like squad and like all the glittery letters and stuff?
It's a funny story. You know, actually, when I first started with the company, they were just joking around with me about, you know, things that I was going to get done in the office and how fast and all that stuff too. So they put up this meter up there to kind of scale as far as like how I'm getting done. Don't, you know, it's empty right now, but I swear I do long enough.
Okay, cool. So it's like a measure stick, if you will, of how much. Okay. Exactly. Very cool. Very cool.
I think they're asking about your hashtags in the back.
The hashtags too? Oh, okay. Well, we were recently at ECC here in Ontario, and so we had like a large King's throne where we had a lot of people that were coming and taking pictures, and we actually had like a King's robe, and so those are like all of our hashtags, like Mayhem Squad and Official RNK and Rebels and Kings. So those were the things that people held in the pictures.
Very cool. All right, well, if you guys have any other questions, we have a ton of them rolling in, but like I said, you guys, we have some industry experts here, so if you guys have any questions regarding the juice making process, branding, or Jessica and Jimmy's personal preferences, just because they've been amazing guests so far, feel free to ask, and I am also going to reiterate that we have a giveaway going on, you guys. Jimmy and Jessica have been so kind to give us 6 flavors, their whole box set of their brand, Rebels and Kings. And there she is holding it up. And in that box set, there is a flavor for everyone, you guys. So be sure to check that out. Enter that giveaway. I'll be selecting the winner in about 35 minutes, just before we close up and wrap everything up on the show. So like I said, be sure to enter that giveaway before 7:30. So, and I also added the link to our brand ambassador program. So if you guys are interested in finding out what that is and how you can get involved, I've linked that as well. So you guys, we have someone who asked, I mean, I'm sure that you can elaborate on this, but they asked, you know, how much do you guys use sweeteners in your juice?
You know, to be honest with you, we don't use very much sweetener because we think that the flavors of the extracts that we use always come out naturally,
Oh,
sweet enough. If anything, we probably use less than 1% sweetener in any of our juice.
wow. Wow. Is there any like reason for that? You just feel that it speaks for itself, or that are you guys more into like the naturalist vape
I
scene or
I personally think that the flavors, like the fruit flavors or like any graham cracker flavors or anything like that, truly does pronounce the flavor itself. So to add sweetener to it is kind of like messing up a Picasso. You know what I mean? So
messing up?
we don't
No,
really.
definitely. No, I love that. Messing up a Picasso for sure. Let it speak for itself. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So do you guys have any, I know that you said that the brand has been out for like a year. Have you guys received any special recognition from influential industry individuals for this flavor other than us? I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not calling myself influential. But if, or organizations or anything like that.
Actually, yeah. So, I mean, for Rebels and Kings specifically, we actually already won 2 awards just for RK. So, we won 2 awards in China. One for Ruby Gates, which is the fruit one. That one best fruit, and we actually won best frost too for Onyx Frost. So. Really,
Wow.
really proud of that. But I mean, as a manufacturer as a whole, with the brands that we've had, we've won probably close to 10 awards like worldwide. So we're really proud of the job that they've been doing here. So
That's awesome, you guys. I love hearing that. I love that. I think you guys are one of the first people I've asked that question. And you had multiple answers. So clearly you guys, you know, usually someone's like, oh, it's this flavor, it's that. You guys have multiple ones. So that's awesome. So on that note, I would actually love to hear what other eJuice brand flavors do you guys admire and why outside of your own?
I mean, well, me specifically, one brand that I really, really do like is Kilo. I mean, other than, the juices in general, like I love their image that they portray. It's just very sleek and it's very clean. And when it comes to their mission, they're just all about craftsmanship and just kind of sticking to that. So that's something that I really like about them.
Awesome. What about you,
Mhm.
Jimmy?
For me, I think that Squeeze is doing a really good job right now
Ooh,
with
yeah.
their branding, with their whole theme overall. You know, it's not something that we would do here, but we wouldn't do it because we didn't think of it, kind of thing. You know, like their branding, everything is really farmhouse, fresh squeezed juice. You know, like their grapefruit flavor has really got me. You know, I know them pretty well, and whenever I go there, I always skip on their grapefruit flavor, and I truly love it.
So are you like a grapefruit person in general, or is it just that flavor of grapefruit specifically that you
It's funny because I normally don't like grapefruit,
Oh,
but
okay.
theirs is fantastic. And
Awesome. So, I know we talked a little bit about your guys' personal vape journeys at the beginning of the show. But how long have you guys been vaping? Like, if you had to put a timeline on it.
I want to say mine was when I first started working at that first shop too, was closer to maybe 5 years now. Yeah, about 5 years.
5 years. Okay, so when it was still pretty OG then.
Yeah,
Because I
really,
think.
really new. I remember.
Wait, you remember what?
No, I remember, like, as far as like when I first started working at that shop, just being introduced in general, kind of going to the store first, checking out the product, and I had no idea what vaping was. I had barely kind of, seen it like here and there, but kind of Jimmy introduced me to that, so that was awesome.
Very cool. What about you, Jimmy?
Mid 2012, so this is 2018 now, so about 6 years.
So yeah, so you're both OG people now. I got distracted. I was reading someone in the chat saying that I said OG and then I messed it up. But so you guys remember when like blues were like the big thing and stuff like that? Yeah, because see, that's how my dad started on it, was with the blues, going to the gas station, buying God knows how many cartridges or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
I got into
when
the game.
Egos came out, you were kind of like, wow, it's an ego, now it's variable. Oh wow, so it's cool to see the industry evolved, you know, and kind of retracted stuff too. That's why people going back to the salt pod devices and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. It's almost like history repeating itself, kind of.
You know, that's actually interesting. I've been thinking about asking you guys a question, and I think this is a perfect segue into it. Do you guys feel that there's kind of a back to the basics overall, like, kind of like let's take it back to the basics thing going on in the industry? Because I feel like with the Nick salts for the flavor, or with the squonks, which were popular a few years ago, that have just gotten like hot again, and like you said, the closed systems and stuff, do you feel like there's this movement of returning back to simplicity, and why do you think that, if you do, or if not, why don't you think that?
I think that in the year of 2013 and 14, people were coming out with products every week. Like there's new products every week, new juice every week. That I think that the consumer became really, really overwhelmed. Like if I bought this mod, let's say last week, and then the week after now they have a V5, and this is a V2. It's kind of ridiculous that, you know, the consumer has to go out and buy a V5 just to be updated. You know.
Yeah.
So I think most of everyone is going back to the minimalistic approach, and this is like, you know, the new pod systems are very sleek and thin. You know, you can put in your pocket, no problem. You know, so I think that's why it's happening. People are just getting tired of, you know, doing everything. But the other half of people are also still like, you know, pro dripping, you know, pro mechanical mod. So it's hard. We're kind of divided right now, but at least everybody has the same outcome, the same goal. You know?
Definitely. I would definitely agree with that. So Chad Nealon said, I got nicotine poison because I didn't know when to stop vaping. A couple of other people talking about how they still have the first ego. So that's funny. So we have another question, you guys, and I know this is deviating momentarily from Rebels and Kings, but I myself am curious because I've seen a couple of my coworkers vaping this, and I just have to ask. Jameson wants to know, what's the squeal to spaghetti ice cream? We need more spaghetti. Can you explain? I know that flavor very well. Can you explain to the general public what spaghetti ice cream is and how you guys made it into a vape flavor?
It's kind of funny because someone came here and said, you know what? Have you guys tried spaghetti ice cream? And I'm kind of like, that doesn't sound good at all. What is that? You know? So we looked it up and we're kind of like, we get what it is, you know what I mean? So generally, it's more like an ice cream flavor, you know what I mean? But the form of it looks like the spaghetti. So if you guys Google spaghetti ice cream, you guys will definitely see like more dessert shops on the East Coast doing like spaghetti ice cream. And that's kind of where the idea came from.
Is it like the East Coast version of rolled ice cream? Because I see rolled ice cream everywhere in California and
so.
Vegas.
Yeah. You can kind of notice like what juice comes from the East Coast and what juice comes from the West Coast because based on the dessert. Like all of a sudden you see ice cream donuts over here and then you see spaghetti ice cream over there.
And cannolis back east and pie on the southern belt. Yeah, definitely. Any plans for lasagna ice cream? Someone in the chat had to ask. So that's my question. How do you differentiate? I mean, it's called spaghetti ice cream, but like it's ice cream though. So how is it different from like a regular ice cream flavor?
It's kind of weird because the way that they form the spaghetti ice cream, it has different components in it to make it into a spaghetti, right?
Yeah.
So we have to dissect those components and make every single component before adding it all together to create spaghetti ice cream, which is kind of weird, you know what I mean? So there's a little bit of strawberry in there, there's a little bit of other things in it to make it spaghetti ice cream, you know. So it's kind of weird actually.
Definitely. No, I mean that's why I the first time I saw the flavor, I was like, what is this? And I was making fun of my friend who would always talk about it. And then we actually met Tommy when he came to visit, and I was like, okay, can you tell me more like specifically about that flavor? I was like, I need to know. So a lot of people in the chat are saying that they've heard good things about it though. So that's great to hear.
I think it's catching wave because it's like no one knows what spaghetti ice cream is, and that sounds nasty. It's like back then when they made chocolate bacon. You know what I mean? You're getting a chocolate bacon, and you're like, ew, what's chocolate bacon? So, but out of that, you still have to try it at least once.
Definitely.
So saying spaghetti ice cream, they're like, what is that? I'm gonna have to try it at least once, and then maybe they'll get hooked. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they'll keep buying. You know, whichever it is, maybe they'll keep enjoying it.
That's what happened to one of our coworkers. He thought the name was so interesting. He tried it, and now that's like one of the only things he vapes now. So,
definitely.
So I have another question for you guys. And you know this could be anywhere from for legal reasons or just a misunderstanding, because, you know, I feel like the average person doesn't really understand a whole lot in the back end of the manufacturing process, maybe because they're not, you know, they're not usually speaking to people who work at places like that. They're just kind of living their lives. So what do you guys believe is the biggest challenge in the e-juice making industry?
For us right now, like, I believe that keeping up with the regulations and keeping up with the news on a day-to-day basis, because these things change every day. You know, like once a week they'll say, oh, you know, like as for to the FDA regulations, they pushed it back like 6 times. So you don't really know what's going on. Everything is up in the air. But we can only take it upon ourselves to be like, you know what? If I was making this juice, where would I want it to come from? Would I want it to come from a kitchen, or would I want it to come from a nice lab, or something clean or something dirty? So it's kind of like we have to take it upon ourselves. So we have to keep thinking about these things and ways to expand it and ways to make it safer for everyone to vape. So I'm thinking more like we always have to keep our eyes open all the time to make sure that everything's being done right. You know?
Definitely. I 100% agree. Do you have anything else to add to that, Jessica, or?
I mean, kind of going back to what he was saying, as far as like just paying attention to those small details and always just being, you know, 5 steps ahead. We just always have to make sure that we're on top of everything, and so that way, just in case something changes, we're already prepared.
Definitely makes sense. And, you know, I think that it's interesting because you've got, you know, you've got this ever-changing environment. You guys are doing great as far as like the branding and the t-shirts and kind of like keeping the message going and stuff. And it's awesome. So, I just think that it's definitely interesting when, people, I mean, you know, you've got like all your DIYers out there, right? Do you have any advice for the DIYers out there? So people who are making their own juice, maybe why they should consider buying premium facility-made e-juice?
Well, I mean, I don't want to say, hey, if you're a DIYer, stop. You know,
No.
Yeah, you can't kill curiosity. If you're curious about it, of course, get into it. You know, but just be sure to be safe. You know, handling nicotine, handling pure nicotine, even diluted nicotine is very, very dangerous. So you have to be very, very safe and cautious when doing these things. Like the people that mix for us here, you know, if they're mixing, we make sure that room is locked. No one's bothering them. You know, no one knocking on the door, none of that stuff. Because when you're doing this, you don't want to make a mistake, number one. Number two, you don't want to spill nicotine on yourself, because that can be very, very fatal. You know, so always wear gloves, always wash your hands. You know, those things really do matter in the long run.
Definitely. And that nicotine, like you said, very dangerous, hands off. Want to make sure that it's safe. So if any of you guys are DIYers, not encouraging you not to do that, but just make sure that you're safe. So I want to bring it back to kind of what you were saying before. And it's interesting how you say, you know, we have to be ready for whatever's thrown at us. You know, like we have to be ready for the next thing. And that's going to be the most prudent way to kind of handle everything. Even people's misconceptions about vaping, whether it be the government, whether it be other people. And my boss actually said to me a long time ago when I first kind of got into the vape realm, he said, everyone has a toolkit, right? So like Amazon has their toolkit of how to market their brand and all these different companies, and their toolkit has 200 tools in it that they can use. But in the vape space, you have a toolkit with 6 different tools that you can use. That's it, just like 5 or 6 tools, and everyone's using the same tools. So when I ask all these questions about branding and differentiating and stuff, I think that it's awesome that you guys are taking that so seriously, because that really is. I think as far as really, besides price, because let's be real, a lot of people are kind of always looking for the best priced item. Like, they always are. It's true. Yeah. That, you know, aside from that branding and customer service seem to be the bread and butter of why people keep coming back to brands. So I just, again, want to commend you guys for that, because I really think that it's one thing to take tools and market your brand, and it's another thing to take tools that everybody else is using and creatively find a way to make it your own. So I would love to know about any future like collaborations you guys have. So we talked about like future flavors or projects. Do you guys have any collabs that you're doing with any other brands for now, or are you mainly just focusing on building up that Rebels and Kings flavor, brand loyalty, etc.?
I think we're on our path for right now. As far to the vape side, as far to collaborating outside of vape for clothing and for lifestyle and any of those things, we're working with a lot of YouTube artists and a lot of influential people that are outside of vaping, so we can kind of merge both worlds together. You know what I mean? To make sure that everyone in the world knows about vaping, not just like, oh, what is this thing? So we're focusing on this brand for right now in the vape industry, but as forward to this brand outside of the vape industry, we're working on other outlets to make sure that the whole world will know about us. So,
that's a great idea. Influencers. Oh, I'm sorry, Jessica, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, kind of similar to what he was saying, as far as Rebels and Kings being an entire lifestyle brand, you know, even though like for us, like our juices are our bread and butter, but us dabbling into clothing and everything like that too, you know, we just want to continue to build the brand and build awareness. And I just feel like for us, that's just really inspiring. It kind of just shows that, you know, we're here not to just do one thing. We're here to kind of take over the world and do multiple things. And we want you guys to join us. So that's what we're going to do.
Awesome. I love how you're not, that's what we're trying to do. It's what we're going to do. You guys are so confident. I love it. We have a couple of questions in the chat. So Patrick asked Jimmy and Jessica in regards to advocacy, and he wanted to note that he really likes your branding. Do you guys have an opinion on other liquid companies putting IP infringing or reckless labels on their bottles?
I don't think that our company is a type to slander other companies, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But like, you know, if other companies want to brand a certain way, hey, that's their prerogative. You know, like we can't stop them. Yes, we can give them advice and say, hey, you know what, that might not be something smart, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna, you know, slander them and say, hey, you know what, you guys are dumb or whatever like that. We can't. I don't think we're the type to say that.
Yeah, no, and you gotta be. Oh, I'm sorry, Jessica. What were you saying?
No, I agree with him too. I mean, everyone has their own mission and what they believe in their brand. So, you know, we don't want to slander them or say anything like that.
And I think it's important with everything that's going on that people stand together, definitely in the industry as well. Mm-hmm. He had another question that branched out from that. Additionally, do you guys find that you become frustrated when you see the negative effects that something like that may have? And does it impact your company or brand in any way?
Of course. I mean, like, if people brand a certain way, they don't have the moral approach with it. I think they're thinking about more of like the short term, while we're over here thinking about the long term. You know what I mean? So, yes, it does affect us a lot, and yes, we do get frustrated, but we are on our own path and we are creating our own vision. So, whether someone's gonna get in our way or not, we're gonna run them over and keep going. So, yeah.
I love it. I love the confidence. Yeah. I'm going to take this moment again just to pause, and I saw a couple more people kind of jump into the chat right now, so do a little spiel and then we'll continue. You guys, I'm here today. If you guys came in halfway through and you just joined us, I'm here with Jimmy and Jessica from Jemtek. And they're amazing so far as answering our questions, and we're really talking about Rebels and Kings, this awesome brand that, I mean, it really speaks for itself. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Instagram one more time for you guys. But if you guys want to go add them on Instagram, follow them. They have a giveaway that they're actually hosting right now for some of their awesome swag, which they showed us at the beginning of this video. And I'll probably ask them to show us once again before we close out. But here is their handle, official RNK. So be sure to follow them on Instagram. And we are hosting a giveaway, you guys. So at 7:30 Pacific time, so in 15 minutes, I will be selecting the giveaway winner right before we wrap up our show, and that winner is going to receive 6 bottles from their box set, as they call it, which I love, and Jessica's going to go ahead and show us. There they are right there, you guys. So it's 6 60 milliliter bottles. Each bottle is a different flavor that works for pretty much every palate under the sun. Whether you're a fan of like nicotine or creamy or fruity, they've got it all for you guys. So enter that giveaway. I'll be selecting that winner in about 15 minutes. And I also attached the link to our brand ambassador program. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about that, go ahead and click that link and read up on that. So you guys, I would love to know, whoops, sorry, I lost my notes for a second. So, other than we talked about you guys collaborating, we talked about like new projects that you have coming out. What are your advice for people who are kind of, what's your advice for people who are coming onto the juice scene that are new? Because we've had a lot of people ask that in past segments where they're kind of doing their own thing and they're presenting it at shows. So for somebody who's trying to really make their big break, what advice do you have for them?
I think for me, just definitely work smarter. Networking is definitely a huge thing. Just meeting the right people and just doing your research and just don't give up. Just keep on going.
Awesome. Any additions to that, Jimmy?
I think she covered it. I probably would say ask a lot of questions, because this industry, whether you're a consumer, whether you're a manufacturer, whether you're a retail store, we're very inviting. That's what I noticed about this industry. So I don't think any question is a dumb question, so just ask all the questions you can.
Well, I don't have a dumb question for you, but I have another silly question. I have quite a few questions for you, but I'll start with the non-vape related one. Question: the model with the pigtails on your Instagram, does she like nerds?
On our Instagram?
Yes.
No, we gotta take a look here. Let's see.
You can lie. It's totally fine. I'm just kidding.
Is it the 5th picture down from a recent feed? Is that what he's talking about?
I think so.
One, I'm not sure because we work with our other partner. Her name is Tessa Ray Photography. She does fantastic. She actually has equity in our company, and she runs everything social media wise. So if you do have questions about any of the models on our page, please refer to Tessa.
Oh, okay. There you go, Jameson. And then we got a couple more questions. Ralph would like to know, what is the best way to get a flavor made without DIY? And I know you guys kind of covered this a little earlier in the show, but if you could just do a quick summary again for some of the people who hopped in regarding that.
So the funny thing about getting a flavor made without DIY, I mean, there's a lot of places that do that now. Our manufacturing house does do a lot of flavors for other people, but we can't release that. But we do a lot of that. And if you're ever interested in doing something like that, we're more than happy to have you here to help you with that.
Fantastic. And we had another question for you guys. What are your thoughts on shake and vape juices?
A lot of people think that the TPD regulations in Europe are kind of like stupid, you know what I mean? Like people don't understand it, but at the same time, it's almost like the FDA here. As far as a shake and vape, while the industry can last with shake and vape, that's fine, but I believe that that's going to be going away pretty soon this year. So with that being said, like, like selling 10 ml bottles in Europe is kind of nonsense, but by the same time, it's okay because the price is going to be the same. So if you're buying one 10 ml bottle compared to one 60 ml bottle, it's 1/6 of the price. So it's realistically the same thing. But at the same time, like shake and vape, if you add nicotine to it, it's only going to be 3 milligrams. You can't have 6, you can't have 12, you can't have any of that. So at least you get your options of choice with 6 and 12. You buy the 10 ml bottles.
Thanks for reiterating that. And again, there's another thing that we have someone asking if you could reiterate just real quickly. Patrick wants to know, he said this may have already been answered, but how did the name of Rebels and Kings come about? If you guys could reiterate. He was a few minutes late to the show.
You could take that, Jessica.
I think that coming from, as far as like everyone's like different background and where we stand, we all are kind of like a rebel in that sense. We all come from different backgrounds and what we believe in, but we want to, craft something that's going to be catered to not only royalty, but to everyone else. So that's kind of how we came up with Rebels and Kings.
Very cool.
Want to say a little more, Jimmy?
Yeah. So our slogan overall is called "Crafted by Rebels, Fit for Kings," because in all honesty, we're gonna be nobody. So we're actually nobody creating something that's fit for everybody. So whether it be peasants or royalty, we're going to be able to cater to them all. So the Rebels will go out and do that.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for reiterating that. I hope that answered your question, Patrick. That white guy wants to know, are your juices... I know, I love his name. Are your guys' juices pre-steeped or do they need to be steeped once purchased?
All of our e-liquids here are pre-steeped for about 2 weeks under a climate-controlled room before we bottle. So you don't have to steep it any longer. But of course, if you decide to steep it longer, the flavor is only going to get better. So it's up to you. But we, at that point in the 2 week time zone, I think that we have steeped it enough for the flavor to come out the way that we like it.
Very cool. We have actually another question, and it's very industry heavy, so I'm going to go ahead and gear this towards Jimmy real quick. Juicing with Jen would like to know, wholesale taxes. How do you feel about some of those if it's the only bargaining chip we'll have? And she doesn't like it because it opens the door for state, city, country, all that stuff.
Well, as far as the taxes, there's no way around it. I mean, if I didn't have to pay taxes or people didn't take taxes out of my paycheck, that would be fantastic.
I know, right?
You know, but I mean, with that being said, I mean, you're going to get taxed regardless. And that was expected coming into this industry. Yes, it was unregulated for quite a bit of time. But if we want this industry to keep going, yes, there's going to have to be taxes and fees and stuff like that. So, I mean, whether or not we like it, it's going to be here. So we're going to have to welcome it.
I hope that answered your question, Jen. And like he said, it's not something that we're incredibly happy about, but it's the reality of the situation. So, so you guys, I would just like to pause it once again. I'm going to make one last announcement about everything that we've got going on. And then I've got some wrap-up questions for you guys, because right after the giveaway, we'll be kind of wrapping up and stuff. So, you guys, last chance. I am going to let you guys know, last time you're going to have to hear me say this. If you guys are interested in joining our giveaway, be sure to check the link at the bottom of the screen. I will also link it in the chat. And Jimmy and Jessica have been so awesome that they've offered to give us a full box set of their flavors. So Jessica's going to hold it up for the 8,000th time this show because I've mentioned this so many times. But if you guys are interested in getting any of those flavors, there's one, it's 6 60 milliliter bottles. There's a flavor for every single person in there, whether you're a tobacco enthusiast, fruit enthusiast, cream enthusiast, and beyond. So be sure to join that because I will be picking the winner in about 7 minutes right before we wrap up the show. And I'm also going to be linking their Instagram in the chat. They mentioned earlier that they had some super, super cool swag. So if you could hold that up, actually, Jimmy, if you mind showing us that swag again.
Sure thing. So we have Rebels, Kings. We have so many iterations of hats here. I think we have a total of 12 versions of hats. We have a gold version. We have our gold crowns. We have so many different things. We got pins. We got so many different things for our branding.
So you guys, I went ahead and dropped their Instagram link in the chat. So if you guys are interested, they're having a giveaway right now on Instagram for hitting 15K, right? You said?
Yes, 15K.
That's awesome, you guys. That's fantastic especially if this brand's only been around for like a year and a half. And it's all organic too, or?
All organic following, yeah.
All organic. So super, super, super impressive, you guys. If you guys are interested in joining that, I provided their link. And if you guys are interested in joining our brand ambassador program where you can use your social media to rake up rewards and prizes from our site, go ahead and click that, read up on that. So if you guys have any other questions, they can be vape-related questions, they can be silly questions before we do this giveaway. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes, so go ahead, drop them in the chat, and I'll be sure to ask our guests. But for you guys, I have, a couple of things about So hold on, we actually had another one in the chat that I would like to. So Juicing with Jen also asked regarding the wholesale issue. Do you feel that those taxes may shut down shops?
I honestly don't believe so because the person that's really absorbing most of the tax is the manufacturer and the distributor. So I think the prices will basically be the same in a retail shop. I don't think they will flex very much because it's all being absorbed on the back end already.
Very cool. So I hope that answered your question, Jen. And now we've got some silly questions in. How far apart are Jimmy and Jessica sitting? Are they in the same room?
She's like right here on the other side of this wall.
Oh, behind the bar with the glitter.
Yeah, he's like literally like right over there.
That's so funny. Well, there you go, you guys. They're in the same room. So is your eJuice? Oh, I almost read that question. Okay, Patrick. I almost thought that was serious. He said, "Is your eJuice free range?" Can't even. Literally.
I'm not sure. Organic maybe. Free range I'm not quite sure.
I don't think they I don't think they graze their bottles on the the range, you guys.
Grass-fed e-liquid, yes.
Yeah. Grass-fed e-liquid, premium organic. Just kidding. But again, you guys, narrowing it down in the last few minutes. If you guys have any questions for Jimmy or Jessica whatsoever, we have our giveaway where I will be picking a winner in about 4 or 5 minutes. And then we'll be wrapping up. So full vegan. Yes, full vegan flavors. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions for these guys, they are pros. So ask them now because the show's going to be ending in a few minutes. So get them all out now. So what's next? That's just the question. What's next?
Well, we are doing...
For Jemtek. They finished their question.
For Jemtek. So we're going to keep pushing along here in Jemtek. We're going to maintain the flavors that we have while developing more flavors. Hopefully, by the end of next year, or this year, we're actually going to probably release a new brand. But that brand has been kind of in the works for a year, too. So hopefully, it will stay at the same stature as our Rebels and Kings brand. But it can only be better because we've been working on it for so long too. So. Oh,
so that too. And someone said cherries because he guessed.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the cherries.
I actually, since the cat's out of the bag a little bit. Did you guys have any inspiration for the cherry, or did you just kind of look at your flavors and be like, oh, we're missing a cherry?
I think that nobody's nailed the cherry flavor quite yet.
Yeah.
We have 2 versions of cherries, like one for like a dessert style, one for like a fruit style. So we're working on that now. Which one we decide on, we're not quite sure yet. So
okay, well, I'm excited. I'm excited to try the final product. Definitely. A couple of people were saying earlier that, it tends to taste like cough syrup sometimes with cherry if it's not done correctly. So the fact that you guys are taking your time with that and you have different options, I think is fantastic for all the cherry lovers out there. So
yeah, definitely.
That white guy wants to know if you guys plan on any mods or RDAs/RTAs.
It's funny because if the question was if we're planning on making any RDAs or RTAs, at this moment we're not, but we are getting into the closed system units and stuff like that. We are working with our partners in Asia to make something very special for closed pod systems for like regular sales or anything like that, or for salt nicotine. So that is coming out very soon as well.
It's ironic that you said that because while you literally were saying those words, someone else in the chat asked, do you have any flavor pods for closed systems?
We don't have the pods, but we currently sell the salt nickel.
Okay. So that you guys mentioned that earlier. So Alex, they don't have the pods, but if you want to do the Salt Nick, they totally have that. I personally love Salt Nick just because they, Nick salts, I should say, because the flavor is like on those, and then like, the level of nicotine, like for me, I have a relatively low nic level, but like when people are trying to transition, I'll even be like, hey, you should check out the salts because it's so much higher in those.
Definitely.
So if you guys are kind of transitioning, or you guys have you guys are more bent on flavor, or you're looking for something with a higher nic level, you guys should definitely try their nic salts because it sounds like their regular flavors are delicious. So the nic salts, I'm sure, are extremely delicious. All right, you guys, it is 7:29, which means it is time to pick the winner of our giveaway. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, you guys, right now on this other screen. Let's see. Oh, and of course everything's freezing up, right?
Oh, no.
That's the way. Okay, let's see. So, okay.
Who is it going to be? You're just building anticipation.
Drum roll, please. You guys, I'm drawing the winners right now. And our winner... Oh, okay, hold on. Let me announce it in the widget. And then I'll go ahead and show you guys who the winner is. So our winner for the giveaway tonight, you're going to get all 6 flavors, 60 milliliter bottles, that box set. Drum roll, you guys, is Jacob P. Congratulations. Yeah. You are our winner, Jacob P. Congratulations. Thank you guys so much for participating, and thank you guys for providing such amazing prizes for our giveaway. So thank you for everybody who participated. If you didn't win this time, don't worry. We do giveaways pretty much every week, so come back. You'll have an opportunity to do so. And a big thank you, everyone in the chat, to our lovely friends over at Jemtek and our Rebels and Kings fanatics over here, Jessica and Jimmy. So you're going to have to let us know how amazing those flavors are when you get them, because everybody wants, I mean, I'm going to go, oh, that was another question that someone had asked earlier in the chat that I meant to ask you guys. Other than Instagram or giveaways, is there a way for people to buy this whole box set?
Well, obviously, eJuices.com does have them.
There you go.
And the next thing we do is we actually have our own website, officialarcade.com. Also has them. You can buy all of the gear. You can buy all of the juice there.
Fantastic. So you guys can visit either of those places. We've got the box set too. So if you didn't win but you still want to try these flavors, definitely encourage you guys to do so. So you guys, let's wind down a little bit, wrapping up kind of as a last closing final thoughts. Is there anything else that you guys would like people to know about Jemtek, about Rebels and Kings, the e-juice making process, or the business side of the industry in general in closing?
I mean, I don't know. I think just kind of look out for us in regards to like Rebels and Kings. Like we're really kind of pushing in the brand out there. Just try the juices, look for the brand, and we just have to see all the new stuff we come up with.
Awesome.
We are going to be touring around the entire world this year. Our next stop would be Germany and Mexico, and then we're going to be in Paris, UK, China, back to the US in multiple cities. I think we're going to be in Detroit. We're going to New York. So please catch us there if you see us and come by and say hi.
Yeah.
So you guys are literally taking over the world.
Yep.
Yeah, we are.
Will Rebels and Kings be at Foxwoods?
Unfortunately not. They're sold out. When we chimed in, they're like, oh, we don't have any more room. We should just go tackle somebody out of their booth.
Yeah, just do it. Just throw them out. Just kidding. But maybe next time, you guys. Maybe not Foxwoods this time, but maybe next time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys, Jimmy and Jessica. Thank you so much. You guys were amazing guests. I feel like you answered everyone's questions so well. So thank you guys. Jacob, be sure to email us at ejuicescom@gmail.com with your information so we can send that over to Jimmy and Jessica so that we can get that box set over to you ASAP. We will be on next week, same time, 6 p.m., you guys, next Tuesday, Pacific time. And thank you once again, you guys, and be sure to thank everybody in the chat. Be sure to thank you, Jimmy and Jessica, for being such amazing guests.
Thanks for having us.
So, yeah, thanks for having us on.
All right, good night, everybody. I'll see you next week. Good night, you guys.